Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Let me welcome you to today's show, Face the Nation GH, World Politics. There's a breaking news, on the mainstream media, what is trending today is that Trump has pardoned the Thanksgiving turkey. It simply means he has allowed a GSA to proceed with a transition. One, he has sounded very democratic. He has put all his haters to shame. I said this, Emmanuel Acheampong, I made it clear, he doesn't have a choice. The transition will go on, and any option be. The transition will definitely go on. January 20th, per the numbers are indicative or post, the sovereign will of the American citizens, it's clear, the president-elect and the vice president-elect, His Excellency or Commander-in-Chief Joe Biden and Harris will take over White House. And that doesn't mean, the concerns are Trump, His Excellency Harris, and you're legitimate. But that is how the system works. That's how the system is. Excuse me, guys. And then you see a very special moment, they take initiative, allow for GSA, so take place. And that is a body, a designer, it's been, instructed or more for the transition process. So they started cooperating with them. They have to brief them. It's like Ghana Kabeka said, the local transition teams, yes, it's a government. So right now it's from a Republican Party going to the Democratic Party. But the point is this: Trump still has not conceded. People are saying he's not obligated to concede. That is fine. But he not conceding means a lot. One, he has objected the outcome of the polls. We're raising a lot of legitimate concerns. It's yet to be tested based on the facts and the evidence, or they appear or they show up in court. We've seen most of the state courts are dismissed. TROs now second temporary restraining order. One, to instruct a court to stop a state from counting there, I don't think any court will do that, because in as much as you have an issue, allow that process to take place. In most of cases, normal dismissing and be TROs, and it be the microphones of filing individual people file here. But you see, this is what the mainstream media is doing. The mainstream media is trying to make it seem the man doesn't have even one legitimate claim. Indeed, he has won some of the claims too. And then as I now I'm say, it's so clear. So one who say state of Georgia, recounting. Michigan, there's an issue there. And even the main state, Pennsylvania, there's a very big issue in Pennsylvania. This is what is going to happen in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania alone have 20 electoral votes. That alone can overturn the outcome of the elections. The Pennsylvania Federal Court denied the request. Now he's going to the appellate division of the United States Federal Court. Assuming the order also happens there, the next step for Trump is to move to the United States Supreme Court. Look, it's very possible to see between in as much as you may have your opposing feelings against the man, you may dislike him, you may not like his policy, you may be a Democrat. Look, I don't see why people sometimes use their personal will or their feelings or their political affiliation. No, they override a systematic ideology at a war. Where now, you see, some of the GOP members, Republicans, and is saying they will not satisfy the results of Joe Biden. The results coming from the various states, because the states are mandated by December to submit all electoral certifications to United States Congress. Now, the Republicans believe they are holding to the House of Representatives, they will not satisfy that. And that happens, it means aside Trump going to the court, the U.S. Congress, which is both the House of Representatives and the House of the Legislative, also have a legitimate say when it comes to who should become a president. You see, sometimes my mama use, especially in Africa, or my mama use if you ask them, say, oh, you didn't it's done. No, it's not done. There's a lot of litigation going on. But you see, I'm trying to put things together, either tomorrow being Wednesday or on the Thanksgiving day, Let me discuss it about an hour to 2 hours to discuss solely the legal issues that Trump put forward, and we'll see whether the United States Supreme Court can have a say. Can the United Supreme Court act? Can the Congress, precisely the House of Representatives and the House of Senate, almost say be towards that? But the breaking news, or as it stands right now, the GSA, the Trump administration is cooperating with the GSA. What it means, or what that means, is that now, time in this say, you swear His Excellency or President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Harris, Trump will have to leave White House. Then he can continue with his legal battle. I know that is what we share in most of the media houses now. This is what is happening right now. I always tell people, say, democracy, as Joe Biden said, democracy is very messy. Indeed, it is messy, and therefore we should respect the tendency of democracy. Because look, it doesn't mean say. I can't even understand it. Even some of the learned lawyers that I respected so much in this country, I don't want to embark on name calling. The mere fact they don't want the Trump administration simply means evidence are man nikura, facts are nipa put forward. Simply means you trash it in the case now, which is not supposed to be. And a very interesting. You see, Trump will always be Trump. Look, this is what Trump is saying. Why is Joe Biden so quickly forming a cabinet when my investigators have found hundreds of thousands of fraudulent votes, enough to flip at least 4 states, which in turn is more than enough to win elections? Hopefully, the courts and all legislative will have the courage to do what has to be done to maintain the integrity of our elections. The United States of America itself, the world is watching. Indeed, the world is watching. Trump seems to go along with Biden's transition only after aides told him he didn't have to admit he lost. I think the advisors have done so well because you see, U.S. have actually set the pace where democracy is concerned. They've practiced democracy for over 200 good years. But you see, after elections in November, you have more than 2 months until January 20th. You have the ending of, you have pretty much the whole of November, the whole of December, and first 19 days in January to bring any issue. We saw that in 2000 election between Bush and Al Gore. That was just a counting issue. So entirely it's going to be different from this. But this time around, it's not necessarily about counting. The man has raised a lot of concerns so far as the 2020 elections are concerned. So one, we are here to protect the integrity of the elections and the dignity of the American people. Democratic, just be patient and allow the court system to work. And then there's only claimer, the court will just give it back to him. Whatever you are doing is just BS. You have no legitimate claim. Just go home. As simple as that. But as to say, yeah, yeah, I can say, yeah, prejudgments there. I mean, it doesn't speak well of us as people who really understand democracy. So I think certain advisors and so on, they did very well for making him believe. Indeed, as it stands right now, the man hasn't conceived defeat. Fine, you can say it doesn't mean any well, but it does mean something. Those who really understand the international politics, up to date, this is Russia Crumpun to mean Fred, Joe Biden, and currently, same as a lot of states. I think Turkey too hasn't done it. Because you see, some people just want the right thing to be done. They are being patient and they are respecting the democratic processes. The same way in our main treaty, I say, let's go by that.
All right, folks, welcome.
There's a story here. I'm pasting here in a quick video. Okay. After Trump allows GS, assisted President-elect Joe Biden, team normal, almost embarking on the transition, almost some of the transition. This what came up. He said Pentagon to begin providing support for for power transition plan immediately as Biden gets access to briefing and founding. There you go.
Now, if you
All right. I know, sir, a lot of people are familiar with one of Trump's lawyers, Sidney Powell. He said we are getting ready to overturn election results in multiple states. The sad news is that she's not part of the legal team anymore. I think it fall out with them, or she has cut ties with them, and she doesn't also act the president in his private capacity as a legal advisor or representative. Now let's get to the Middle East. There's so much attention in Middle East right now. Because from now to January 20th, a lot of people believe that Trump leaving is likely to strike or command the Pentagon to initiate a strike on Iran nuclear facilities. So what came up today is that the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will meet MBS Pompeo in Saudi Arabia. Says Netanyahu flew to Saudi Arabia for a clandestine meeting with the Saudi Crown Prince and U.S. Secretary of State. What they are trying to put across right now, no, sir,
are working to one in cooperation in all that pertains to confronting
see, what they're trying to put across right now, they say Israel tried to form a coalition on the Gulf so that they can confront Iran. Because you see, the Iran nuclear deal, not only that it poses threat, not only that it poses threat to the Israelis alone, other nations or states are almost US, a good foreign policy, it impact on them. I mean, it poses danger also to them. So I think Israel is trying so much. So before Trump administration, they focused so much on the Middle East. Because Israel to me form a strong coalition now. They should be able to confront Iran. Because Iran is a very powerful country as far as the Gulf is concerned. One said there's been a couple of meetings at ECOSOC.
It's a team that will keep our country and our people safe and secure.
It's very, very interesting, eh? I think it be more rushing for things, but I think Joe Biden is so much in a hurry. Trump. I allowed GSA to cooperate with him. You see, Trump has started forming his cabinet, was starting your appointment, or then the foreign policy, or bringing the foreign policies out. Right now, our point, the good news, I don't know how the immigrants are going to take it. He has made a very strategic appointment for Homeland Security. While appointed someone with a Hispanic background, like not, I don't want to say the person's an American, all right, but yeah, or let's say, appointed Hispanic American. You know what that means when it comes to immigration policies. That's what a lot of people have been anticipating for. His Secretary of Treasury has also been appointed, and I believe Foreign Secretary is coming very soon. The man is just so in a hurry. We in our media believe we are. Therefore, the public confidence in Donald Trump all challenging the legitimacy of the president-elect and the 2020 elections, and then automatically nullifies that. No, it doesn't. You see, that is the mistake some of us are making. So I check a couple of polls about. You see, I told you I don't want to get so much into the legal aspect of Trump issue. Let me promise you that Wednesday or Thursday we'll use a whole day. You better talking about the legal claims that Trump are raising. Then I'll bring in two polls on my conduct to the United States. About 70+% of the Americans believe that the 2020 elections were rigged. It's a fraudulent elections. I mean, to have this and even pose national security to the elected leaders. So I think it's better so when you have a cooperative with each other, now settle, so that they'll have a peace of mind to govern the nation and also protect the integrity and the dignity of the American election and its citizens. Right now, and then breaking news from Delaware.
It's a team that reflects the fact that America is back, ready to lead the world, not retreat from it. Once again, sit at the head of the table, ready to confront our adversaries and not reject our allies, ready to stand up for our values. In fact, in calls from world leaders that I've had, about 18 of them or 20 so far, I'm not sure the exact number, in the weeks since we won the election, I've been struck by how much they're looking forward to the United States reasserting its historic role as a global leader. both in the Pacific as well as the Atlantic, all across the world. The team meets this moment, this team behind me. They embody my core beliefs that America is strongest when it works with its allies. Collectively, this team has secured some of the most defining national security and diplomatic achievements in recent memory, made possible through decades of experience working with our partners. That's how we truly keep America safe, without engaging in needless military conflicts and our adversaries in check and terrorists at bay. And that's how we counter terrorism and extremism, control this pandemic and future ones, deal with the climate crisis, nuclear proliferation, cyber threats and emerging technologies that spread authoritarianism, and so much more. And while this team has unmatched experience and accomplishments, they also reflect the idea that we cannot meet these challenges with old thinking and unchanged habits. For example, we're going to have the first woman lead the intelligence community, the first Latino and immigrant to lead the Department of Homeland Security, and a groundbreaking diplomat at the United Nations. We're going to have a principal on the National Security Council whose full-time job is to fight climate change. For the first time ever, that will occur. And my national security team will be coordinated by one of the youngest national security advisors in decades. Experience and leadership, fresh thinking and perspective, and an unrelenting belief in the promise of America. I've long said that America leads not only by the example of our power, but by the power of our example. And I'm proud to put forward this incredible team that will lead by example. As Secretary of State, I nominate Tony Blinken. He's one of the better prepared for this job. No one's better prepared, in my view. He will be the Secretary of State who previously served in top roles on Capitol Hill, in the White House, and in the State Department. He delivered for the American people in each place. Efforts in the fight against ISIS, strengthening America's alliance and position in the Asia-Pacific, guiding our responses to the global refugee crisis with compassion and determination. And he will rebuild.
Keeping your oyster.
You know, it's a very, very, very interesting.
Where his career in government began. And he starts off with the kind of relationships around the world that many of his predecessors have had to build over the years. I know. I've seen him in action. Tony's been one of my closest and most trusted advisors. I know him and his family, immigrants and refugees, a Holocaust survivor, who taught him to never take for granted the very idea of America as a place of possibilities.
Indeed.
Possibilities.
Indeed, he does have that. He does have the experience, but let's see what he's also going to offer the American people under the president-elect Joe Biden and the vice president-elect Harris. It's a very strategic appointment, the Secretary of State. Looking at the background, I mean, I'm very impressed, and I wish him good luck. Hopefully, the whole administration will survive the test of time and the test of the legal battle. Let's bear that in mind. As much as prepare transition, there's still legal battle pending this administration.
Ali, as he goes by, is a former U.S.
Ali
attorney,
Jandar,
former director of U.S.
as a
Citizenship
Homeland
and Immigration
Security
Services,
Secretary of
and a former
Namibia.
DHS Deputy Secretary. Helped implement DACA, prevented attacks on the homeland, enhanced our cybersecurity, helped communities recover from natural disaster, combated Ebola and Zika. And while DHS affects everyone, given its critical role in immigration matters, I'm proud that for the first time ever, the department will be led by an immigrant, a Latino, who knows that we are a nation of laws and values. And one more thing. Today's his birthday. Happy birthday, man.
Oh,
Happy birthday.
another November born, eh? Happy birthday.
As a director of national intelligence, I nominate Avril Haines, the first woman ever to hold this post. To lead our intelligence community, I didn't pick a politician or a political figure. I picked a professional. She's eminently qualified. Former Deputy Director of the CIA, former Deputy National Security Advisor to President Obama, and a fierce advocate for telling the truth and leveling with her decisions with the decision makers. Straight up. Nothing unnecessary. I know because I've worked with her for over a decade. Brilliant, humble, can talk literature and theoretical physics, fixing cars, flying planes, running a bookstore cafe, all in a single conversation because she's done all that. And above all, she gets word of a threat, if she gets word of a threat coming to our shores, like another pandemic or foreign interference in our elections, she will not stop raising alarms until the right people take action. People will be able to take her word because she always calls it as she sees it. I believe we are safer with Avril on the watch. I think she can make a great contribution. And as United States Ambassador to the United Nations, I nominate Linda Thomas Greenfield, a seasoned and distinguished diplomat with 35 years in the Foreign Service who never forgot where she came from, growing up in segregated Louisiana. The eldest of 8. Her dad couldn't read or write, but she says he was the smartest person she knew. First in her family to graduate from high school, then college. The whole world literally ahead of her, as her dad and mom taught her to believe. Post in Switzerland, Pakistan, Kenya, the Gambia, Nigeria, Jamaica, Liberia, where she was known as the People's Ambassador. Willing to meet with anyone, an ambassador, a student, working people struggling to get by, and always treating them with the same level of dignity and respect. She was our top State Department official in charge of African policy during the Ebola crisis. She received overwhelming support from her fellow career Foreign Service officers. And she'll be at cabinet status because I want to hear her voice on all the major foreign policy discussions we have. And my national security advisor, I choose Jake Sullivan. He's once-in-a-generation intellect with experience and temperament for one of the toughest jobs in the world. When I was vice president, he served as my national security advisor. He was a top advisor to Secretary of State Clinton. He helped lead the early negotiations that led to the Iran nuclear deal. He helped broker the Gaza ceasefire in 2012, played a key role in Asia-Pacific rebalance in our administration. And in this campaign for the presidency, he served as one of my most trusted advisors on both foreign and domestic policy, including helping me develop our COVID-19 strategy. Jake understands my vision that economic security is national security, and it helps steer what I call a foreign policy for the middle class, for families like his growing up in Minnesota, where he was raised by parents who were educators and taught him the values of hard work, decency, service, and respect. What that means is to win the competition for the future, we need to keep us safe and secure and build back better than ever. We need to invest in our people, sharpen our innovative edge, unite the economic might of our democracies around the world to grow the middle class and reduce inequity, and do things like counter predatory trade practices that our competitors and our adversaries. And before I talk about the final person today, let me talk about this new position. For the first time ever, the United States will have a full-time climate leader who participate in ministerial level meetings. And that's a fancy way of saying they'll have a seat at every table around the world. For the first time ever, there will be a principal on the National Security Council who can make sure climate change is on the agenda in the Situation Room. For the first time ever, we will have a presidential envoy on climate. He will be matched with high-level White House climate policy coordinator and policy-making structure to be announced in December. And that'll lead efforts here in the United States to combat the climate crisis, mobilize action.
All right, very soon, Yebabe ended the first segment of the Face the Nation GH. We'll be going to the second segment to address the trending issues in Ghana and rebuilding Ghana. Definitely, I'll join the program now. You're welcome. For your first time, so I'll be subscribe you on any of our social media platform, and soon we'll be joining and so our app. So
Negotiate the Paris Climate Accord, or a former presidential nominee, or a former leading senator, or the head of a major climate organization for the job, they would show my commitment to the United States and the whole world. The fact that I picked the one person who is all of these things speaks unambiguously to my commitment. The world will know that with one of my closest friends, John Kerry, he's speaking for America on one of the most pressing threats of our time. No one I trust more. To this team, I thank them for accepting this call to service. And for their families, I thank you all for your sacrifice. You know, we could not do this without you, in my view. Together, these public servants will restore America globally, its global leadership, and its moral leadership, and will ensure that our service members, diplomats, and intelligence professionals can do their job free of politics. They'll not only repair, they'll also reimagine American foreign policy and national security for the next generation. And they'll tell me what I need to know, not what I want to know, what I need to know. To the American people, this team will make us proud to be Americans. And as more states certify the results of this election, there's progress to wrap up our victory. You know, I'm pleased to have received the ascertainment from GSA to carry out a smooth and peaceful transition of power, so our teams can prepare to meet the challenges at hand, to control the pandemic, to build back better, and to protect the safety and security of the American people. And to the United States Senate, I hope these outstanding nominees received a prompt hearing and that we can work across the aisle in good faith to move forward for the country. Let's begin that work to heal and unite. To heal and unite America as well as the world. I want to thank you all. May God bless you. May God protect our troops. And now I turn this over, this new team, starting with our next Secretary of State, Tony Blinken.
all right. On that note, we end the Face the Nation GH, the world politics on this. And I also recommend a phrase from Joe Biden to most African leaders who are not doing the right thing. He said, tell me what I need to know, not what I want to know. All right, thank you for your time. Now, switching to the second segment, which is trending issues in Ghana and rebuilding Ghana.